Thank you, everyone. I'm grateful to have a number of our customers in the room and to hear from customers remotely, like Siemens. And I'll save the about slide to the end. Let's just talk about kind of some of the things that we're hearing about. See if I can get this to work. Kevin? All right.
Yeah, it's a little slow to move.
So we've heard, this is like, echoing some of my slides, right? So we're all on the same page here, right? So you think about disruptions, right? And are you going to be prepared for the next one, right? Whether it's costs going up, we hear about that. Weather and the impact. I have a company I'm working with where their whole plant was blown out during Hurricane Laura in Louisiana. Stuff like that happens. Imagine if that happened to one of your facilities. And when we think about alternate sourcing and things like the Accenture folks talked about, are we prepared? Are we thinking about that backup supplier? Maybe a higher cost, but still we can deliver that order on time in full. But we have kind of a backup plan. Assurance of supply, we've talked about that. M&As, I've personally been through 15 acquisitions and divestitures on both sides of the table. I worked for Reckitt for 14 years, and we bought and sold everybody in CPG and usually mucked it up, right? But now if you're buying other companies, maybe you're on SAP's, your backbone, now you have another one with Infor, QAD, Oracle, ERPs, and how do you get that speed to value of those acquisitions? We help foster that because we can agnostically connect to any ERP. And that way now you can at least get the planning ducks in a row while everybody else in IT works on merging the ERPs at some point, someday in your lifetime. It's very hard work. Geopolitics, right? We touched on Taiwan and China, and heaven forbid if that ever happens, that can derail a lot of things, right? Employee retention, staffing, the job market's still very good. I know one company in New Jersey, they lost 8 planners inside of a year because they were stuck on spreadsheets and old software, and they went to our customers like BMS, right? So it's got to think about the career of these folks, right? Manufacturing outages, lost capacity, shipment delays. Remember the port strikes? It wasn't too far in the past. The Suez Canal, the ship running aground, and how does all of that impact our customers and our patients? And are we ready? Do we have that agility? We deal with companies of all sizes. I was hired actually to go after the mid-market for Kinaxis. We had typically been with enterprise-sized accounts, Novartis, BMS, those folks. And so we kind of went down market a step. And so we've been building out that market. And we heard the other day from CSL Behring, this quote here, life in an Excel spreadsheet working nights and weekends is pure hell, right? And that's what's happening with the planners. They're working all weekends just trying to keep things afloat. And so, we try to help improve that experience. We care a lot about the planners and their day in the life. They're the ones that actually are doing the hard work, right? We foster a process called concurrent planning. I'll talk about that in a minute. We're leveraging AI, so how do we automate these routine tasks and get better insights? We're hearing more and more about the role of a network planner. So instead of a demand planner, supply planner, inventory planner, one person owns all of that for their category of products, right? So that way it's just really comprehensively under that one person. And more we're thinking more about connecting planning with execution. We acquired a company called MPO, Multi-Party Orchestration. So think of an order object, whether it's a supplier order, a stock transport order between sites, an order, a sales order going out to a customer or a distributor. And how do we keep an eye on that TMS and shipment tracking and all of the complexity of the execution of that order? So we're now integrating our platform with MPO that we acquired. So actually, Dietmar had a slide like this from Kinaxis, right? So you think about the hodgepodge of all the Excel spreadsheets that we've all built over the years, and how do we connect all that across multiple ERPs? It's a mess. It's very, very hard to run your planning operation that way. And a lot of these companies, they haven't had a step change improvement in many years that we're finding, right? So it's a huge opportunity. So you get surprises like, oh, I didn't know we increased the demand forecast when I'm trying to figure out my production plan. Right? And even then, there's a delay because I didn't tell you, it wasn't kind of instant. Who knows what is distributed? That kind of tribal knowledge is kind of fractured. And, so there's kind of low trust sometimes and finger pointing when things go awry. I remember when I was helping to launch S&OP in my division of Honeywell years ago, Len, the VP of sales, was at our S&OP meeting, and we were talking about what's going on, and we're going to shut down the plant for a week in July to do some PM, and he said, well, wait a minute, I'm getting this big order from Pfizer. We have to do an inventory build. They're about to launch this new drug. We were doing the pharma packaging at the time. And so everybody's kind of pointing fingers because we weren't orchestrating properly, right? And that's what integrated business planning and S&OP really should help foster It's a culture change, but it really starts at the top to have everybody really embrace it. And if you don't have those kinds of efficiencies and you're wasting resources and the metrics don't align, especially not aligned with the corporate metrics, think about the AOP. Our talent is wasted on repetitive tasks that they get frustrated about, and really, you're really not getting the learnings that you need about, continuous improvement. So our platform offers a whole bunch of different capabilities. We're top ranked by Gartner for those of them that follow the Magic Quadrant. The new one will come out any time now. So we're in the upper right corner, so very highly regarded as a visionary in this space and the ability to deliver and execute. We provide end-to-end visibility, so when we think about the network, and I was talking to a consulting firm the other day, one of their clients is a healthcare provider. We were saying, well, what if? Maybe I've got a hospital in Puerto Rico and it gets wiped out in a hurricane, right? Well, we have cataract surgeries all scheduled. Uh-oh, guess what? We don't have the inventory. Well, where else might we have it? I need that visibility. And what if we have inventory in Atlanta? We can air freight to Puerto Rico and still deliver the patient care that they need, right? So we provide all of that. And they're like stunned that we had that kind of capability. Concurrent planning. So the idea is on one common database, right? Instead of having like all this kind of siloed activity here. Which one's the later, Kevin? Oh, this one here, I'm sorry. So instead of having silos where finance has their own numbers, demand, supply, we're all kind of running what-if scenarios, right? We, in one common data model, have it all together, right? So it's kind of transforming the process, the data. We're all operating off the same number. So if we update that demand plan, everybody gets to see it. We're not like siloed and pointing fingers and disconnected kind of thing, right? It's innovative. Nobody else does this except for us, right? We have the best scenario modeling, so all that what-if stuff. So what if we're going to get a new order, from a provider, and we're not sure when it's going to hit. It may be October, it might be September, but on the far side, it might be December. Well, I need to know what's the impact. How much inventory do I need? Do I have enough? Am I going to run out on packaging components so I can tell procurement to go source more? We could run those scenarios in seconds. And that's why a lot of these leaders, sign up with us. It's a big differentiator. Integrated workflows, we have a lot of scorecards and dashboards. We've been evaluated multiple times by all the life sciences companies, and consistently they're selecting us. I mentioned, connecting to multiple ERPs. This is kind of a logo slide. We got a lot more logos, but think of all these life sciences leaders that we all know about: Sanofi, Novartis, Siemens, Viant, Merck, right? All kind of top of mind in this industry, and more even the mid-market companies are signing up with us as well because they need to be competitive and responsive to their customers and patients. A few of us came from Allied Signal / Honeywell. Marcus here, Mike Wentling, myself, right? So when you think about Six Sigma and best practices and all that, that's kind of how we grew up in industry to model these things and think that way. And how do we drive that value, right? So just, Kinaxis, we're a leader in supply chain management software. We're based in Ottawa. We have an office in Chicago as well. We're considered a trusted advisor and recognized groundbreaker in this industry by, a lot of the people that vet us, right? We're focused right now on those 6 core verticals. Some of us, like me, have been talking more and more about the providers. When you think about that value chain with suppliers, tier 1, 2, the brand owners, the distributors. Cardinal Health is one of our customers. What's next? What about those providers, right? And I think personally we would offer a lot of opportunity in that vertical. So we haven't gone against that yet, but I can see it coming at some point. We call our platform Rapid Response for a reason. It's in seconds. It's not a batch thing, modules all disconnected. It's very, very fast. And we've got lots of patents about our in-memory database. It's a top, rated employer for culture. And I can tell you, it's a fabulous company. It's one of the best I've ever worked at. And, grateful to be there, right? So, we're approaching 300 customers, thousands of users around the world, in several countries, lots of partners like Accenture that you saw earlier. And, we're grateful to be a part of that. Our user conference is coming up in June. It's going to be virtual or on site, so if you want to sign up even virtually, you'll get to see some of the presentations, right? So it's connections.com, and I encourage you, take advantage of it. Well, so Cardinal's we've got 2 people from Cardinal presenting and, lots of other industries. And it's kind of fun to learn from other industries. You might think, oh, aerospace, what do they know about, healthcare? They do, in just different ways, different things, right? Mark, you were talking about sterilization before, right? So that implies to me you have an expiry date on that, right? Much like pharma would for raw, whip, finished, and remaining, right? It's kind of fun when you uncover some of these things or these parallels across industries, right? Anyway, that's my contact information. Thank you, everybody, for the opportunity to share that.